Hey there, my name is Martin Vincent, a freshman here at NC State, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about volunteering. Volunteering has been a big part of my life throughout my years. In high school, I earned the Durham Mayor's Award for completing over 100 hours of community service over one summer in my county, and also earned the Voyager Academy Service Laureate Award for doing over 200 hours of community service in my high school lifespan. More specifically, I'm going to talk to you about a project I did this year in Miss Moore's PRT 152 Sport, Parks, Recreation, and Tourism class, in which we were required to do a volunteer experience with the mindset of leisure, recreation, and play.
For my volunteer experience in PRT 152, Parks, Recreation, and Tourism, I decided to go to Budd Elementary School with Pat Play. Budd Elementary School is an elementary school located on the outskirts of downtown Raleigh. And with Pat Play, we participated with the after-school program, more specifically the K through 2 kids at that school. With these kids, we did many things. Mainly, we were there to teach them sports. Over the course of our volunteering experiences, we taught them basketball, soccer, football, and even did some sorts of conditioning stuff. Outside of sports, we were trying to be big mentors and role models for them. By doing this, we were eating snacks with them when we got there, hanging out with them, sometimes helping them with their homework, and at the end of the day, sitting down, playing with Legos, or even Pokemon, something I've never really done before. So we did this about once a week, every Tuesday, and Pat Play was run through Jensen and Clay in the Sport Management Club. I met with these kids for a total of 5 times, equaling 5 hours of volunteer work. And each time I grew more and more closer to these kids, as well as enjoyed teaching the sports that I did. Learning not only more about the sports, but more about myself, and even reminiscing of what it was like to be that age again. Because like I said, these children were K through 2, and they hadn't really been exposed to sports and what we were kind of teaching them. So this was a first-hand experience for them. My roles during this experience weren't that big as I was a freshman in this group, but I still was able to teach them, especially during the basketball unit, as I was tall and I won a state championship in basketball. The leaders of the group kind of looked upon me to lead drills and teach these kids some of the main fundamentals of the sport. But my favorite part was during the soccer unit, where I was able to sort of learn along with the children, as soccer was not one of the big sports I played as a child. As you can see, here are a few of the videos of me playing soccer with the children running around enjoying learning how to pass and kick the ball from one another. As I said earlier, our roles were outside of sports as well, as we helped with snacks, helping the YMCA after school leaders round the kids up, make sure they went to the bathroom and they cleaned up their mess. Some days we went in there, and children that couldn't play outside because they had homework to do, we'd sit down there and help them with homework and walk their hand through math and computer skills and English, something. Looking back at the volunteer experience, there's a lot I can take away. A lot of things that are interesting to me, a lot of things that are intriguing, a lot of things that made me step outside of my comfort zone. Mainly, growing up, being the age I am now, I wasn't really big on kids and hanging around kids. Mainly the reason I'm in sport management and not elementary education. I just don't like having to control someone that really won't really respond to you. But this experience really opened my eyes to that. I got to hang out with these children. Matter of fact, I had to build bonds with many of them. They would always, when I wasn't there, they'd ask, "Where's Mark?" And then when I was there, they said they missed me, and they would always come up to me and give me hugs. So that was a really big deal. That was just even outside of the sports that we were playing. And then just being able to teach younger children the fundamentals of sports that I love and continue to play to this day, just knowing that one day that they could possibly be in my role, was just really interesting and really humbling. From an academic enhancement perspective, I saw a lot of what we did in class, talking about the children and future generations and the different stages of life. As these children are learning, I'm teaching them skills that they'll be able to carry and build onto as they get older and go into adulthood and then later life and then into their elderly years. As far as it goes as actual academic things in our class, just the effect of recreation on children, and the addition of recreation to their repertoire, the stuff that they can take on to future generations and teach them to use someday like us. It was really cool to see how much recreation had an effect on the child. Like I said, there's an after-school program, so they were busy in the classroom all day, and just being able to see them unwind out on the field and in the gym when we teach them a sport, and just mainly just seeing them run around and the smiles on their face, how they really enjoy. From a personal growth level, I had no idea really what to expect going into this, other than I knew that I was going to be working with elementary age school kids, teaching them a sport every week, and mainly just getting hours for volunteering experience. Little did I know that I would come to enjoy this and continue to do even once I gained my 4 required volunteer hours. This experience helped me grow personally. It made me feel better as a person. I got to help shape a child's life, and hopefully they will take what they learned through our weeks of participation and grow on that, and especially next year when we come back and teach them more sports and just hang out with them, really. As I said, this experience really changed my view on children. As growing up, I didn't really like hanging out with them, but now it brought a new mindset to me of maybe possibly working in the sports field with children, maybe youth development, somewhere along the lines of that. Through this experience of volunteering, I actually got to see the things that we talked about in PRTM actually being used in the field, and got to use some of the techniques that I've learned along the way. I mainly learned the value of recreation and play that has on the youth. In fact, I'm actually doing that for my project for my Shark Tank group on youth development and childhood. One should also say that I experienced flow during this time, as working with children has always been a challenge with me, and during this time I completely enjoyed what I was doing. In fact, it felt like the hour and 15 minutes were there went by really fast. This mainly because I was doing what I love the most, which is sports. When you combine something challenging for me, which is working with kids in sports, it kind of canceled out and created the whole flow process. I also got to help out children in an early stage of their life to help them develop them, preparing them and giving them skills that they can use later on in adulthood and their later years with the help of sports. All these lessons are important not only to me but to the children I worked with, as it not only made this experience more fun for both of us, but also left us with memories and skills that we can use throughout our years. This process will definitely influence me as I go forward through PRTM and volunteering experiences, as I may lean towards working with children in the future, as that provided a positive outcome in the end. Looking at this experience from a personal and professional growth level, I learned a lot of things. There's a lot of things I'm going to take away from this going forward, volunteering through PAC Play and through other things in PRTM. Mainly, I learned that you need to sometimes step outside of your comfort zone. I did a lot of volunteering growing up, but nothing with children. And I stepped outside my comfort zone this time and decided to work with children and do something a little different. And that helped me learn that even though you're the oldest one there, more experience, it's hard to be in charge. Sometimes you need to take a step back and even learn from the children at some times. There are a lot of things that happened during my time volunteering over my 5-hour period that helped me learn this. Just mainly the things that we did there, what I saw and what I taught these kids will truly stick with me. The fact that whenever I ran up to them, they would run up to me and they'd give me a hug, hold my hand. They'd always ask me to tie their shoe or maybe give them their snack, and they'd always pick me as their partner first, as I thought I was the coolest, which is not true at all. So it's just a really humbling experience. This lesson is important, as maybe one day I will look to have children. This helps me become more comfortable with them, as I was not very comfortable with children in the first place. Maybe because I'm so tall and they're so small, I don't know why. There's something that has really been bothering me my whole life. So this will definitely influence me going on forward in life. My behavior towards children has changed. My attitude towards stepping outside my box, maybe there's something I may do down the road that I'm not comfortable with, but I learned that stepping outside your box, you can probably have a lot of fun like I did this time right here. Overall, this volunteer experience through Parks and Recreation Tourism was a great experience. I truly enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, even though I've completed my 5 hours, I am still going back and continuing to volunteer at PAC Play. I enjoyed who I've worked with. I enjoyed who I was serving, and I'm sure they enjoy me. I've learned a lot, grown a lot, and hope to continue to do both of those. This has been one of the most humbling experiences out of any of my volunteer experiences, as I can truly look back and see maybe what I was like at that age, and I can bestow upon them some of my talents in sports and knowledge that I have. I really appreciate the opportunity that PRTM, Budge Elementary, and Sport Management Club have given me to volunteer at PAC Play, and I look forward to doing it in the years to come. Thank you, and goodbye.